Hey guys, what is up and welcome back. Today I'm doing something a little bit different and I'm going to be sharing with you guys everything that I've made homemade over the past week or so. I'm going through kind of a lifestyle change, a mindset change, and just want to start making more things from home, from scratch. I've gotten into such a bad habit of buying everything out of convenience, out of time saving, and then when I'm out of said store-bought items feeling like I have no food. I know I mentioned in one of my latest videos saying that, like, I feel like I have no food, and then I had all this stuff that I could make things with. And so I don't know, I'm just on a mission this summer to kind of change our lifestyle, make more homemade items. Doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be the healthiest or the cheapest options, or that I won't be buying packaged processed foods here and there. You know, I'm not perfect. Before I make things in bulk or before I like food prep, meal prep with them, I just wanted to make sure that I could do these recipes and kind of get my feet wet and practice, and B, I want to make sure I enjoy the recipes. I'm drinking my homemade cold brew right now, which I actually just emptied this morning, so I'm gonna go ahead and brew some more. That is something that I want to have in my fridge at all times for the summer. Instead of spending $5-6 on a cold brew out, I am gonna go ahead and make it from home, because it is absolutely delicious and it tastes just as good, if not better, than buying it out, in my opinion. I'm going to talk you through the items that I have made so far. Let's start with the pizza dough, because it is my absolute favorite. So I've made homemade pizza dough in the past. I am not very good at it. I just don't really know what I'm doing, but the more that you practice, the better that you get. And this pizza dough it's the best homemade pizza I have ever had from home. It's incredibly easy. I borrowed my friend's pizza stone and a little pizza wheel, like the board, and now I need my own, but it's so easy to do. Yes, it takes a little bit of time as far as, you know, rising the dough goes, so something you might want to do in the morning, or, you know, prep ahead and you can freeze it or pop it in the fridge for a couple of days. But I highly recommend it. It was so delicious. For the purpose of this video, I'm going to link all of these recipes down in the description box below, where you can go ahead and check out the instructions, but I will have ingredients listed on the screen. This pizza dough, I am highly confident that anyone can make it. It is so easy. You basically just throw together the ingredients. The only reason why it's time consuming is because you have to let it rise a little bit. But other than that, I am so confident that everyone can make this. It turned out so delicious. I am never not going to make, okay, I lied. I'm definitely going to be buying store-bought frozen pizzas at some point, but this is going to be in my rotation from now on. My daughter raved about this pizza, and she's a little bit more particular when it comes to pizzas. She would much rather have that fresh dough taste, and this has that. It's chewy. The way that it cooks on the pizza stone, it has that nice and crispy edge and bottom, but chewy in the middle. My yeast, this round, my yeast probably needed a little bit more time to develop this first round, and I was terrible. Can you look at the shape of this pizza? It was terrible, but it tasted delicious. I went ahead and inserted, because this recipe made 2 balls of pizza dough, I went ahead and inserted my second one, and it came out much better shaped. I topped it with Rao's pizza sauce, fresh mozzarella, and fresh basil. Next up, let's talk about a little bit more of a fail on my end, but it has major potential. So I made homemade pasta. Now, I will say, I have no patience. I didn't roll it thin enough, and so it was quite thick. The texture and the taste, incredible. It has amazing potential. It's not the recipe, it was me. Like I said, I'm just learning to do all of these things, and I'm hoping to stick with it. No, I'm going to stick with it. I'm hoping to get better at it. But this homemade pasta, I made essentially like a fettuccine type thickness, but I made it a little bit too thick. I didn't roll it thin enough. Now if you have a KitchenAid, or if you have, you know, your pasta attacher where you can kind of roll it thinner, I think this recipe is going to be amazing for you. Incredibly easy, simple ingredients.
All you need to make this homemade pasta are some eggs, flour, a little bit of olive oil, salt, and water. It's incredibly simple, but it is a little bit time consuming, especially because I don't have a pasta maker or something to roll it flat with or to cut it up with. So every single step was by hand, but it is not difficult at all. Like I said, I definitely didn't roll it thin enough and think that I should get a little something to help me out with, or I will just continue to try and practice. I went ahead and froze the other half that I didn't cook off this evening, just so that I would have some in the freezer, and you can dry it out as well. I'm not sure what the rules are since it does have eggs in it, so just do it at your own caution, at your own risk. I'm not sure what the rules are when it has eggs in it, if you can just let it hang dry and chill it room temperature or not. Now, I'm not sure if it's because I made it too thick or not, but this homemade pasta was incredibly filling, and I found myself needing a lot less than I traditionally do of like store-bought boxed pasta.
Along with the pasta that night, I went ahead and made homemade Caesar dressing. My daughter's obsessed with Caesar salad lately, and so I thought I would go ahead and give it a try to make Caesar dressing without anchovies. Well, without anchovy paste. It does have, I'm gonna attempt this word, Worcestershire sauce, you know what I mean? Yes, and that does have fish in it, like anchovies. I'm sure you can buy a vegan version. That doesn't bother me. It's the anchovies, like the whole anchovies or the paste, that bothers me. It's just an up here thing. So I went ahead and made my own Caesar dressing. Amazing, incredible, literally one of my favorite homemade dressings I've ever made. I am not a stranger to making homemade dressings. I do love it, but I do get into the habit of buying those bagged Caesar salad kits, which is fine, but I don't need to. I can definitely make things homemade, especially the Caesar dressing. So that night we had our Caesar salad with our homemade pasta, tossed in some pesto sauce, and Sydney gobbled it up, said it was one of the best dinners she had had in a long time, and I agree. I ate that Caesar salad several times afterwards.
If you have never tried making your own homemade dressings, I highly recommend trying. They are so easy to do. You can pop the ingredients in a food processor. Some recipes you can just pop in a mason jar and shake it up. I find that every homemade dressing that I've ever made tastes way better than store-bought, and I never want to go back. Like my homemade honey mustard, I now just despise bottled honey mustard. It's just a thing. Once you make it fresh and homemade, you will never want to turn back. You can store these in the refrigerator for a couple of weeks. Just kind of Google how long things last, as long as they're in airtight containers, and you can make them as big a batch or as small a batch as you want. But this homemade Caesar dressing makes me never want to buy the pre-made stuff. My daughter gobbled this up and said it was so good. If I hadn't told her I made it homemade, I don't think she would have known any difference.
The next thing that I made was some homemade, I'm gonna put it in quotations, Nutella. So I ended up using half of this recipe, and in hindsight, I should have just done the whole recipe because my food processor wasn't able to blend it smooth enough, and I think it's because it just didn't have enough bulk in there. Taste and flavor wise, delicious. It did not taste like homemade Nutella from the jar, no, but it was delicious. That's something that I definitely want to go ahead and give it a try and kind of try to perfect. I just thought it would be fun to have that on hand, and in fact I gave that to Sydney on her, like on a little banana wrap this morning, and I didn't tell her that I made it homemade. She was biting into it and she goes, "Did you put Nutella in this?" And I said, "Yeah, I did." And she's like, "Oh, it's so good." So I don't know, maybe it does taste like Nutella to some others, but she absolutely enjoyed it, and I'm storing that in the fridge. We can put it on pancakes, we can put it on bananas or fruits or, you know, pretzels or something fun to have, but that's just something fun that I wanted to go ahead and try to make.
All I used for this recipe was a little bit of milk, some coconut sugar, some roasted hazelnuts, cocoa powder, and vanilla. Now, again, I do want to go ahead and try this recipe, just a larger version. That way my food processor can kind of blend things up better. I blended and blended and blended, and it just wasn't getting smooth enough. And again, I just don't think I had enough volume in this one. If I used my magic bullet, it probably would have smoothened out. But this is a recipe that I want to go ahead and give a try again. The flavors are absolutely delicious. I did still want to share this even though it didn't turn out the way that I had planned, because I know I'm not alone. I'm still learning and practicing. I'm not an expert at making homemade items or the best cook, but I am learning and having fun with it.
Next up, I prepped some fruit rolls, which are actually in the oven right now. I am very excited to go ahead and try to see how those turn out. Incredibly easy to make. I think the ingredients all together were only a couple dollars, which we don't do fruit snacks and gummies in our house. Once in a while I'll buy the Soli ones or the Bear ones where it's just fruit, essentially just like dehydrated fruits. And I don't know, I wanted to go ahead and give them a try. My daughter is off of school. Next week is her last week of school, so I thought that would be fun to have on hand as a little like fun snack for her. We will see how those come out. 3 ingredients. That's all it was. Well, technically 4 because I used 2 different fruits.
I used fresh strawberries, raspberries, a little bit of lemon juice, and honey for these fruit rolls. I've always wanted to try to make my own. I've seen many different versions online, and it seems so easy, but I've just never done it. This time, I went ahead and decided to give them a try. It is time consuming because these bake in your oven at a really low temp for a few hours. I think it was at 170 for about 5 to 6 hours. These were so good. I'm still snacking on them. So is my daughter. They are in our pantry in an airtight container. Now, I personally did decide to strain out these seeds. You don't have to if you don't mind the texture. Sydney wants me to try them again with a mango version because she loves the flavor of mango. And she told me these were better than the store-bought ones that I typically buy if I do buy fruit rolls or like gummies or anything like that. Definitely give them a try. Again, you do have to kind of stay home for several hours, but maybe it would be a nice rainy day project.
Does it taste like a fruit roll that I buy, or better, or what do you think?
Better.
I haven't made it yet, but I'm going to make it right now, is the homemade butter pecan ice cream. Now, I've made homemade ice creams several times in my life, so that is not new, but it is something that I want to go ahead and do for the summer. I've been in the habit of buying store-bought ice creams because it's convenient and it's just right there. And yeah, I found the recipe for a butter pecan ice cream with some maple extract, and I went to the health food store and found some, and I am excited to go ahead and make that.
Summertime ice cream is my absolute favorite, and once you make homemade ice cream, you are going to start being addicted and want to make all of the different flavors. Now, this is not a healthy homemade ice cream. This has heavy cream, it has brown sugar. We toasted up some pecans with butter, but the flavors, my gosh, it is so rich and decadent. And honestly, when I went to go eat this, I only wanted 1 scoop and I savored it because it was so rich. I ended up not eating as much as I would if I was like that store-bought ice cream, just because it is so decadent. I have a Cuisinart ice cream maker. I've had it since I was in college, and if you are looking for something less expensive than a creamy, even though I want a Ninja Creamy at some point, do I need it? Probably not. I will link the ice cream maker that I do have. It is significantly cheaper and works just as well, in my opinion. It does its job. Once I pop it in this ice cream maker, you have kind of soft serve texture, and if you want hard serve, that's scoopable, or you have extras, then I go ahead and put it in these containers that I got off Amazon and store it in my freezers.
I feel like for the most part, it's just fun for me. It's something like back to my basics. It's something that I absolutely enjoy doing. And honestly, these days, it's kind of hard to find like, what is my hobby? What fills my cup? What makes me feel, I don't know, just happy inside. And I love cooking. And so I don't want to get away from it. I want to make more homemade items. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you are on the same journey with me, or if you want to start making more items from homemade, if you want to start making more homemade items, let me know in the comments down below. If you already do all of these things, I'm going to give you just a giant round of applause, and I aspire to be like you. But if you have anything that you absolutely love to make homemade, let me know in the comments. I need your recipe. As long as it's sort of easy. I'm still learning. I'm a beginner. Anything with a food processor, I can do.